Hey you guys, welcome to You and Rusty. Today's video is actually slightly different because today we're going to be taking a look at my iPad Pro 2018 actually, but since I'm making the video in 2020 and it has all of the apps that I use today to make my life a little bit more productive, we're going to go through the list of apps, what I do on my iPad, how it has become my productivity device of choice, and I think you can get some sort of an idea about my workflow and maybe imbibe a few things in your own workflow from this video. So this video is going to be divided into two parts primarily. Part one, we're going to take a look at the accessories that I use and why and how I use my iPad. And part two, I'm actually going to take you through the entire suite of apps that I use on the daily, because here's the truth, I use my iPad more than I use my laptop now for my writing, for my editing, for my recording for that matter. And I think I'll not take a lot of your time and we'll just begin. Okay, so this is my 2018 iPad Pro and I wanted to take you through a couple of accessories that I use. So I'm going to put the iPad on the side for a bit because that is the device. And there are two devices that I use primarily. This is the Apple Magic keyboard for the 11-inch iPad. I bought this very recently after my old keyboard was burnt because I put it on the stove, and I use the Apple Pencil primarily to take handwritten notes. Now when I bought the iPad Pro all the way back in September last year, I actually bought it for the sole purpose of taking notes for my classes in King's College London for my masters. But over time I've started to use my laptop less and less, and I actually have begun to use my iPad Pro for writing, for designing, for recording my videos, and a lot of different things. So now I think that is about the accessories. I actually use the Apple Pencil to sketch sometimes, to take notes, but I'm gonna straight away take you into the application suite. Okay, so generally this is what my iPad Pro looks like. This is my wallpaper currently. I think you'll be able to see it on the sides here. But I use the keyboard for writing more or less. And I'm actually going to take you through the application suite that I have. So, alright, so the moment you swipe up, you're taken to the home screen. And my home screen setup looks kind of different from what most people have, because I only have two pages. I don't like to keep a lot of applications on my iPad because it is primarily the device that I use for writing and scripting. So on the left here, you have my today widget arrangement. On the top is the weather because I'm in London and you have to know the weather for every hour because I might step out right now and it will be cloudy or sunny and within 15 minutes it's going to be raining. So I keep a check on that. On the left is also my reminders pane where I have my day scheduled. Currently my day has nothing, but there's the Google News app, there's the calendar app, there's a bunch of photos, my investment details show up here, my LinkedIn profile, my Outlook mails, my batteries for my iPad and my pencil, the map app, and my screen time. But you should notice that on the right are the primary apps that I use for the singular purpose of keeping on track, on staying on track with my life. On the left here, you have my favorite app. You have the messaging app first. You have the FaceTime app, you have the Files app, you have the Safari icon, you have the Google News app, you have the Kindle app, and Bear is actually what I use for taking notes for writing, and this is actually where I do most of my writing. If I take you through some of my story ideas, you'll see my podcast, you'll see my About That YouTuber, you'll see a bunch of footage that I have, you'll see a bunch of scripts that I'm writing, you'll see a lot of stuff because Bear is primarily the app that I use for writing. Now I want to divide this into productivity and staying on track section. So we'll go through the apps that help me stay on track on the daily. Now the apps that I use a lot are the reminders app it's the traditional Apple reminders app. I use the mail app to keep a track of my emails. I use the LinkedIn app because it's very important for me to stay on track about the connections, about my job profiles. A lot of things happens on LinkedIn. My maps app, my learning app is the LinkedIn app of choice. The LinkedIn Learning app actually is my app of choice because it is actually a free subscription with my college and I use that. Now you have the traditional suite of apps. You have the Google Photos app, you have the Apple Photos app. Now this is interesting because I use the Lightroom app to edit some of my photos which I post online. I don't do a lot of photo posting on my Instagram or my Twitter or my Facebook, but when I do need to, I can source the photos from my Photos app and edit them in Lightroom. And Fresco, I sometimes use Fresco for sketching because I bought the Apple Pencil and I need to sketch. Alright, and again you have the Office apps which I sometimes use to run Excel sheets, PowerPoints, a lot of stuff, the traditional Microsoft Office stuff that you do. But it's actually on the second page that you find the apps that I use more frequently. So you'll see there is a slight pattern around this. The Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter and Discord app are my social media apps of choice because I use those on the iPad rather than using on my iPhone. A quick tip: if you have an iPhone or an iPad and an Android phone, the Instagram app actually ups the quality on the stories and the post just because it is well optimized for iPhone and iPad. Same goes for the Twitter app and the Facebook app and the Discord app. Now you will see that there are a lot of apps which are streaming apps. I have Apple TV, I have Netflix, I have Prime Video, MX Player, and it's also because I have to consume a lot of content to make videos and movie reviews. So iPad is also the choice device for me when I watch videos because it's just so easy to conveniently hold the iPad and then just keep watching. GarageBand is actually what I use to record audio for my videos. You will see that I have something called My Song here. I tend to remove the projects, but right now I'm recording my audio on my laptop. But otherwise, I use the iPad to actually shoot videos for myself as well. For example, if I go over here and turn on the front camera, this is the device that I use to shoot most of my videos, and these are actually quite good quality because I can just plug in the mic over here and it will give me the best quality and it'll save me a lot of time on editing. Right now I'll have to sync the camera audio, camera video, and the audio from my laptop. It'll be a little bit of a hassle, but I use the iPad to record as well. Now my favorite app on this is the Safari app. Now, because Safari is a desktop class browser. Now, I think you will find it very interesting that when I connect the iPad to the Magic Keyboard, something magical happens and I get this cursor that I can now use to do everything on the iPad. Ever since I bought the Magic Keyboard, it has been a real life changer because I can now use the iPad literally as my computer and I can do more on the iPad than I could do on my laptop in a small way. For example, if I have to go type, I can just take a new note and I can start typing, and this is a test typing game because it's interesting and it's easier to hold the iPad on my lap. I can be lying on the bed, I can carry the iPad around all time. It gets easier for me to manage my iPad on the go and write on the iPad. There are a couple of other apps that I use, which are Slack, which I use to communicate with the people that I'm working with. The Gbox app is an actually app that I use a lot, but I use it to repost, and it's an actually very interesting app if you're a heavy Instagram user. And of course there is Chrome for the times when I can't open a video in Safari because of the ad blocker and I absolutely have to watch the video. I sometimes watch it in Chrome. This of course is the King's College app. You could see that there are a lot of apps that are actually only on the dock. For example, the Notion app is not here. I've moved it to the dock directly. Notion, I've talked about Notion in my previous videos. I will also be talking about Notion in the future. It's more or less a life tracker for me. The King's College app is something that I used when I was going to college for keeping a track of my timetable, for keeping a track of my library books that I've borrowed. And of course, there is Spotify, which I use to listen music, connected to my Marshall speaker. The music is streaming all the time on my iPad. And I think that's about it. The most important app that I use a lot would be the ones that I have on the dock because I can use the Kindle app to read at any time. I can use the Bear app to take notes. Notion is actually synced on my laptop and on my phone, so I can manage it anywhere. And more or less, I think the most important app on the iPad is the Safari app because I can basically browse YouTube, do everything I would do on my desktop, and in fact manage my entire YouTube studio right from my iPad. It becomes really interesting and really easy to manage my entire life just on this small convenient device. Now I know iPad Pro or the iPad or any iPad for that matter is not a cheap device. I think in India this entire setup is going to cost you somewhere north of 1.25 lakhs because the iPad is expensive, the cover is expensive, the pencil is expensive. I am not here suggesting that you need an iPad to be productive, or you need a tablet to be productive, or you need expensive gear to be productive. All of these things you can do on a normal laptop, on a normal phone. It's just that I have reached that stage in my professional life where I can afford to buy these expensive devices and afford to buy devices that save me a lot of time and are very convenient. For example, the biggest example of convenience I can give you is that I use my laptop these days only to edit my videos or do heavy editing. For example, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all that stuff I do on my laptop because it's a very powerful laptop which I bought 3 years ago. Now when I do all of the easy stuff on my iPad, I can carry it around anywhere. It's a very convenient portable device, and when I shoot my videos on the iPad, it's really easy to airdrop them on the laptop and begin editing. So it's a trade-off that you do between convenience and price in the future, or at a stage when you are in that stage in a career. or at the time when you're at that stage in your career where you can afford to do that. So don't take it as a endorsement of buying iPads, or don't take it as an endorsement of buying expensive apps, or you need professional apps. This is just a video to show you what was on my iPad at this current time, which I use to improve my productivity. This is bound to change. I might stop using the iPad if I could do everything on my phone. The future is uncertain, but at this moment, this is my productivity device of choice, which I spend most of my time on. Of course, it helps that the screen quality on the iPad is incredible. You can do so much more. You can enjoy everything. I mean, of course, it's the best tablet on the planet with the current accessories. I think it's my productivity device of choice, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you enjoyed knowing what I do on my iPad, what I used to watch, what I used to write, and if not, please leave your feedback down in the comments. I will make a follow-up video sometime in the future, and maybe try and keep it a little more to the point. And again, thank you so much for watching this channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I come up with a new video every week on this channel around productivity, lifestyle, something that you might or might not learn from, and make sure you subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.